Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go with them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, or later today, we're doing part 12 to the story, which is titled, Husband Tricks Wife into Writing Confession About Affair Coworker, Then Throws Her Out in Tears. And guys, we're going to continue on where things have been going with these crazy people. Things left off with this guy's who's telling the story, his wife Linda, and all the drama going on in her office. And now we're going to go back to the main characters of this adventure. He says, the following Tuesday, Angie, remember Angie's his attorney, called me at work and asked if I'm busy. I was in a meeting with Greg, my partner, and her husband, but when Angie calls, I pick up. Yeah, given the circumstances of how things are going, I would always pick up when your attorney calls, even if it was 3 o'clock in the morning. I told her I'm busy doing what I do all day, trying to convince her husband Greg to dump Angie so Angie and I can get it on. Yeah, I would stick to business, dude. Don't make those jokes. Angie replied, I have a better chance of getting it on with Greg than with her. Angie told me that it's not happening either. Or Greg told me it's not happening either. Oh well, what's up? Angie asked if I had time for a quick meeting with the ADA that was assigned in my case. Yeah, I guess. Quick meeting, huh? That should be fun. In her car, she explained that the ADA we're meeting is the friend from law school that she told me about. This woman is a real hard ass. Angie laughed and said she wants to meet me before they put me in jail and throw away the key. Angie was smiling, but told me jail won't be so bad. I'll meet many new and interesting people there. Broaden my horizons. Angie laughed again. What the fuck? Well, that's what you get for making that joke about her banging her. The ADA, named Mary, is in her late 20s, early 30s, and is fantastic looking. No wedding ring. Mary smiled, shook our hands, and asked us to sit down. Angie watched me staring at Mary, smiled, and slowly shook her head. Mary opened a file, and I saw a copy of the DMs Linda wrote to Carol. Mary told me they've dropped the charges against me. Well, thank God for that. So what's the point of the meeting then? Well, probably for, what we're about to see. She apologized for my arrest. I thanked her. Mary said she wants to file charges against Linda. Lying to the police and filing a false police report are both felonies. That's what I thought was going to happen. Usually, such cases are difficult to prove. The DMs I found make those charges easy to prove against Linda. She admits that she admits that's what she did. Mary wanted to talk to me before putting this before the DA for approval. I should understand that I'm only involved as a witness. She wants me to testify about how I came into possession of the DMs. Also about the confrontation with Linda on my front porch and what's happened when the police arrived. The cops will also testify. Am I willing to do that? Yes. I asked if Linda will be sent to prison. Mary said maybe. Is that a problem for me? And I answered, no. This woman had me arrested simply because I'm divorcing her, and she thought my arrest would help her in the divorce. I'd have no problem sending her ass to prison. She was deliberately causing a big scene, got this guy arrested, was getting false police report that could cause him a lot of major problems in life, maybe even some criminal charges against him. Not to mention all the cheating she's done, and her actions have demonstrated how much of an awful human being she is. No, she belongs behind bars for a little while. Mary asked, where's the laptop with Linda's DM is now? I told her I have it. Who owns the laptop? I told her I bought it, but Linda used it most of the time. I have it, so I guess it's mine. Good. Mary needs the laptop. Can I bring it in? Yes, I said. We set a time for me to bring the laptop to her the next morning. I told you guys wanted to stick around for part 12 here. Mary continued that here's what's going to happen. Mary will probably get approval to proceed against Linda sometime today or tomorrow. As soon as she gets the go-ahead, and she'll have Linda arrested. Mary asked if Linda is living with her parents. That's my understanding. Mary showed me an address and asked me to check if Linda's correct work address is. It is. Mary said Linda will be arraigned and probably released without having to post any bail. Of course not. But Mary will make sure that Linda knows that any attempt by her to contact me directly will be considered witness tampering, and she'll be charged with another felony. There is no way that Linda is not going to resist trying to contact this guy, I guarantee it. Any divorce-related issues will have to go through our attorneys. No direct contact, and I thank Mary. Mary smiled and continued that the case will be brought before a grand jury where I'll need to testify. Mary will bring me to prepare me for the grand jury testimony. Angie can accompany me for the prep if that's what we want, but not inside the grand jury room. Angie looked at me and nodded. I said, that's what we want. Mary concluded that the grand jury will indict Linda. Wow, this guy's having a good day. Mary closed the file and told me not to worry about testifying in court. This will never go to trial. Linda will accept a plea deal. The charges are serious, so Mary will push for jail time for Linda as part of any plea. Mary wants to make an example of her. People need to stop lying to the police and getting people arrested because they think it will give them some sort of advantage. An arrest based on lies can ruin the arrested person's life. You're darn right about that. I'm liking Mary here. Mary will let me know what's happening through Angie. Mary stood up, shook my hand, smiled, and thanked me. I told her I'll see her tomorrow morning. I probably held onto her hand too long. Angie pulled me away, told Mary she'll talk to her later, and we left. As soon as we got to the car, I asked Angie to tell me about Mary. Oh, for God's sakes. Yeah, you can see this one coming. Angie said she knew I'd like Mary. She's gorgeous, isn't she? Can't deny that. Angie said she and Mary became friends in law school. Mary is Angie's age, 31 years old. She is Angie's only attorney friend. Mary glanced at me and said that most attorneys are sleazeballs, so she stays as far away from them as she can. Yeah, I can back that up. And I'm sure a lot of the lawyers that watch me here will back that up. Again, I had a girlfriend lawyer for a long time. I have a lot of friends that are lawyers in all sorts of different specialties, and got to know plenty of their other friends when they were in law school and all that. And let me tell you, the impression is that lawyers are the sharpest tools in the shed and all that. A lot of lawyers I've met they may be book smart. They may be good at taking tests like the LSATs to get in and all that, and the bar. But common sense for a lot of these attorneys, no. And there are also a lot of sleazeballs. Not surprised by reading this. Mary is principled and as tough as anybody she knows. I asked about Mary's personal life. Angie said she was dating a guy for a couple years, but they parted ways last year. No, Mary is not my ex, guys, in case any of you guys start speculating here. She dates now, but nothing serious. She and Greg have double dated with Mary and a date a few times. Angie smiled and said the guys she likes are good looking and intelligent, so I don't stand a chance. Angie's sense of humor. Angie smiled and said Mary really liked me. I asked why she thinks that. She said that Mary was smiling nearly the entire time we were in the office. Mary's work demeanor is always the straight-laced, serious professional. I said Mary has a beautiful smile. Mary is hot. Can Angie fix us up? Is Angie sure Mary's not involved with anyone? What does Mary like to do? Angie mumbled something like, sweet Jesus, spare me. Angie told me to calm down. Yeah, dude, calm down. Now, for God's sakes. Why don't you get through all this shit and get divorced? Then you can, I get there's something about Mary, ha ha ha. Then you can move on to maybe asking Mary out for a fucking drink. And one goddamn drink. Don't go taking her out to a hotel or something like that. A weekend getaway or something stupid like that just because you think she's hot. Mary can't date a witness in the cases she's handling, especially a witness whose wife she's prosecuting. And it's too soon for me to be dating anyone. Thank you. I'm still married and have a lot of work to do myself. Mary said she's going to contact Angie about updates in the case. By the way, guys, he has some run-on sentences here, and some things are not written as good as they should be. That's why, a few things I messed up. My apologies. It's a long-ass story, and well, anyway. How do we get rid of Angie as the go-between so Mary always talks to me directly? And Angie laughed. Linda was arrested the next morning at her office. Oh, that'd be wonderful to see. Angie came by our work to drop off some medication Greg forgot at home. Greg couldn't do lunch with us, so Angie and I drove to a nearby restaurant, a celebration of the dismissal of charges against me and Linda's arrest. While we were at lunch, Angie got a call from Linda from jail asking Angie to get her out. Angie gets a call from Linda? Really? Angie told me she's not a criminal defense attorney, but she can recommend one. Linda said she already got a referral from her own divorce attorney. She called the guy who told her he'd meet with Linda just before her arraignment the next morning. Nothing he can do before then. Can Angie come and get her out of jail right now? Or call the attorney and tell him he has to get Linda out immediately. Angie said no and hung up on her. Angie said no one is going to get Linda out of the mess she made for herself. Getting me arrested is not going to help Linda in the divorce, but it's certainly going to help me. Most of the rest of the lunch, we discussed Linda and her troubles. So we finished lunch, and Angie was driving me back to work. Angie said she also got a call from Mary to let Angie know that they arrested Linda. I told Angie I dropped off Linda's laptop. Mary was very friendly. Angie said Mary also asked about me when they talked on the phone. Really? What did she want to know? Angie told me not to get too excited. Mary wanted to know if I'd flake out and ruin her case. Am I dependable? What sort of guy am I? Angie said she lied and told Mary I'm a good guy, funny, smart, and reliable. Your attorney Angie's hilarious, man. Angie said she couldn't lie and say I was good looking since Mary had already met me. But Mary told Angie she thought I was attractive. Go figure. Why were they talking about my looks? Because that's what women do. Don't make a difference if they're in their 30s, like here, or they're in their fucking 80s. You don't think my mom, who is in her early 80s, late 70s, isn't talking with the other ladies in the very nice place she lives, all about the different single or widowed men that are there? Come on here. Angie said whenever two women talk about a man, at least part of their conversation will include an assessment of the guy as a potential romantic partner. In other words, they're talking about his looks, his features, his body parts, all that. Okay, if women do that, but if guys do that, they're a bunch of disgusting pigs, right? Assets versus liabilities. Even if both women and the man are married and are still unavailable, they still evaluate the guy. A sort of what if they weren't married type of scenario. If one of the women and the man is available, they discuss whether or not he's worth thinking about and pursuing. If he is, they begin their plotting. Yep, pretty much. I asked how I made out in their assessment. Angie said I have some money, so that's on the plus side. Belinda describes me in her DMs as sporting only a peanut. That's a real deal killer. I yelled, that's what Linda said about Fred, not about me. Did Angie really tell Mary that I'm the size of a peanut? It's not true. Angie has to call Mary right now and tell her it's not true. Mary was driving and began laughing so hard I thought we'd have an accident. Oh, for God's sakes. You know what? This guy telling the story here, he needs some distraction, some humor, something to get him to go on and get through all this. Angie finally calmed down enough to repeat that Mary can't date me until Linda's case is concluded, and I can't date her until my head is in a better place. And I'm still married. Thank you. Okay, you both are instantly attracted to each other, blah, blah, blah. Wait until this case is done. Wait till you're fucking divorced, then knock yourselves out. Angie told me to take a cold shower and spend more time at the gym. But she told me Mary will be calling me directly, not Angie, with updates about Linda's case. And no, they did not talk about the size of my package. They are two well-respected, intelligent, cultured, professional women. They don't discuss men's private parts. Bullshit. I've known very intelligent, respected, professional women, and believe me, they act no different than a bunch of junior high girls in the locker room. Come on here. At least, usually not in their first discussion about a guy. Thank you. Those conversations come later when they have more info. Angie said that she'd like nothing better than to see Mary and me together, but we have a lot to get through first. You just met, for Christ's sake. Okay, there's attraction, big deal. He could spend one drink with her at the bar and find out he doesn't actually like her very much. If I make a move on Mary and try to script a divorce, I'll be Mr. Peanut from now on to every female she knows. Angie started laughing again and told me to keep Mr. Peanut in my pants. Yeah, and SSM says that too. Our support group Friday evening was at Beth's house again. Walking to the front door, I could see Beth and Jim through the kitchen window. Beth was cooking at the stove. Jim was behind her with his arms around her waist, kissing her neck. So much for being just friends, huh? Beth had a big smile on her face. I guess friends with benefits after all. I thought they should really be trying to be more discreet. If I could watch them through a window, a private investigator hired by one of the spouses would not have much difficulty finding out about them. Idiots. Yeah, they are idiots. And if you're watching me, you are being idiots. Keep it in your pants. We talked over dinner. I told them all the charges against me were dropped. Beth said that's a huge relief. She didn't want me taking the blame for something she did. I told them Linda was arrested and spent the night in jail. They all wanted the details. Well, hell yeah. Jim thanked me for giving Carol's DMs about Carol's bank account to Angie. They prove that Carol isn't broke and has been stealing money, and that her family means nothing to her. I asked if he and Angie will be able to find a bank account Carol kept hidden from him. Jim said he and Carol got married 9 years ago when Carol got pregnant. Jim stopped talking. The color drained from his face, and it looked like he was having trouble breathing. I thought he was having a heart attack. Beth jumped in from her chair, put her arms around him, and said, look at me. He's your son. He loves you. You love him. You have each other. She's gone. You have a sweet, innocent boy. Nothing else matters. Remember that he found out that his son technically is not his son because, well, she cheated with another dude. She held Jim until some color returned to his face. Beth sat back down, and when he was breathing normally, Jim thanked Beth and apologized to me. He wishes I hadn't seen that. I told him he doesn't have to apologize to me for anything. I said we should talk about something else, and he said no. He has to confront this shit. He perked up some and said he wants to finish telling us how they're going to find Carol's checking account. Jim and Carol married 9 years ago. Carol insisted they combine their assets, and Jim agreed. Smack! I smacked him earlier, and I'm smacking him again. Bad idea. Everything in both of their names. She deposited about $2,200 from her checking account into their new joint account and told Jim that was all the cash she had. Really? That's all she had? A copy of a picture of that check exists somewhere. He asked his bank to dig up that copy. The check has her bank and account number on it. It's doubtful that she changed banks. When they find the check copy, they'll likely find her account. He says, why not just get a court order for Carol to provide the information? Jim said it might come to that. He asked me if Linda knew I saw their DMs about her lying to the cops and Carol's bank account. I said it's too early for discovery in her case, but Linda may have figured out that the DMs are what led to her arrest. Regardless, when Linda knows that we have the DMs, Carol will also know. Jim said the point of finding the account without Carol knowing that they know about it is to get Carol to perjure herself. Ooh, don't want to do that, Carol. Angie will give her financial disclosure to fill out and notarize for the divorce. If she doesn't declare her bank account, it's perjury. The judge will come down on her hard. If she discloses the bank account, they'll tell the judge that she's been stealing from her family for years. We have the DMs to prove it. So she's screwed either way. The judge will still come down on her hard. Jim will be going after Carol's money instead of the other way around. The woman who's suing Carol for alienation of affection will get most of what Jim doesn't get. Angie will make sure the wife's attorney has Carol's DMs to use. The never-ending story. So it's the third week of May, and here's where we are. Nico is with his daughter somewhere. His wife Jessica is in the psychiatric hospital and will be there for some time. Good. Let's keep her there in the hospital. Carol will lose the money she's been hiding from Jim and has generally behaved so despicably that even the worst judge should grant the divorce settlement Jim wants. Angie says Jim shouldn't count his chickens just yet, but she's optimistic that he'll get custody with no alimony for Carol. And he'll get much of the money Carol has been hiding from Jim. Her DMs portray herself as a selfish, narcissistic piece of crap who only cares about herself. Well, that's pretty much all the wives in this story. The DMs will be her undoing. You're darn right about that. Beth will get everything she wants in the divorce settlement. All that's left in her divorce is the division of assets. She'll be okay, and she has already moved on from her marriage to Fred. Probably moved on with Jim. My loving wife Linda, I love the sarcasm here, loving wife Linda, has already spent one night in jail, and if Mary has her way, Linda will be spending more time behind bars. Her infidelity and her arrest should get me the divorce settlement that I want and her out of my life for good. The wives are getting what they deserve. I wonder if any of them regret cheating on their husbands. Probably not. They'll just tell themselves everything is their husband's fault. The end. The end for now, because the story is always going to keep going. We're going to be on episode 57 eventually. But anyhow, there you go. So, bro, I appreciate you writing this in. Keep us posted. Don't even think about dating. I'm sure this married chick who is obviously in charge of this case is smart enough to keep it away from you. But regardless, yeah, you have a mutual attraction. Great. That's enjoyable. That's fun. Fine. But don't do anything stupid like the other two. And once this case is over with, once obviously she accepts a plea deal, and that's that, and you get through divorce, then knock yourself out, have a good time. But be careful, for God's sakes. And when you eventually take this married chick out, one drink. because you may discover you don't like her too much after a long, intimate conversation with her. But anyhow, guys, there you go. The never-ending story. So we will probably be hearing about part 13, 14, and 15 down the road. But until then, y'all can debate in the comment section about this whole thing and go from there. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.